All right, what's going on, guys? Today we are gonna go over basic footwork drills to help with your boxing and your stand-up and your striking. This can be done for MMA, kickboxing, and also boxing. I'm gonna bring on Maureen to do more sport-specific stuff. But before we do that, I wanna go over what the importance is of having solid structure in your feet from the ground up. When you're trying to move, you need to make sure that you have strength in the feet. The intrinsic muscles of the feet are going to allow you to produce force and redirect force. That's gonna give you a stable foundation to be able to produce that force up the kinetic chain throughout your strike. On top of that, it will allow you to have better overall economy of movement, which is gonna make you more efficient. It's gonna lessen the chance of you getting tired because, again, as you're moving with more fluidity and you're allowing yourself to move throughout ranges without any stress. So first and foremost, we're gonna go over the warm-up portion of what I would do to help with gaining that optimal mobility and strength and force production and stability, more importantly, of the lower limb. So first thing we're gonna do is our controlled articular rotations of the ankle, knee, and hip. So first one, we're gonna go down to the ground. Now I'm gonna go ahead and lock out my ankle from my knee. So I wanna make sure I can disassociate each joint. So I'm gonna take my hand, I'm gonna interlock the knee here, and I'm gonna go right here in that bony part, that tibial tuberosity. We're gonna go ahead and lock that down so that you don't move too much in the knee or in the hip. So I'm gonna go ahead, take my hands, interlock them, then I'm gonna go ahead and flex my foot. Then from there, internally rotate without kicking the knee in. Internally rotate, driving down into plantar flexion, rotating out as far as I can, and then driving back up. Again, now you're activating the muscles of the shin there, anterior tibialis, the peroneals, those muscles there that are going to elicit more range of motion, give you the ability to move through those planes to help you pivot, to control your space, and then also move laterally and through the planes of motion appropriate for boxing and kickboxing and MMA. So we're gonna go around, back up, down, back through, up. And again, we're keeping it controlled. You're not rushing through it. There's no jarring motion. And again, we're trying to disassociate the ankle from the knee, right? You can do 2 sets of 5 repetitions up and down. Now from there, go with the same side. You're gonna go ahead and interlock your hands like a figure 4 lock, just like you're doing a rear naked choke. And what that's gonna do is that's gonna block the hip out. Now our goal for this one is to rotate the tibia, and we wanna make sure we're getting optimal range of motion in the knee. You don't want too much range of motion, but you still need to have some fluidity. You still need to be able to pivot off that knee, because again, if you're gonna change direction, if you are going to pivot and move and change your distances, that you're gonna need to have some type of range of motion there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna lock this down, you're gonna flex, internally rotate again, you go up into extension, then we're gonna go ahead, drive that leg out, back down, back up, in, up, out, down, up, in, down, and again, 2 sets, 5 repetitions up and down. All right, now we're gonna move on to the hip. Now with the hip, it's important because this is where you're gonna gain your range and allow you to get internal, external rotation, abduction, adduction. This will allow you to move in and out of the pocket. This will allow you to rotate, pivot, and change direction as appropriately as possible to allow you to evade strikes and also produce that power through your strikes. So here we go. We're gonna get on all 4s again. So we're gonna go hand underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. From there, I'm gonna go ahead and drive my knee to my chest. I'm gonna go out to the side. I'm gonna rotate, come back in, back around, open up into extension, abduction, adduction, and then back down. All right, you're gonna do the same thing on the other side. You're gonna do 2 to 3 sets of about 3 repetitions up and around, okay? After that, we're gonna go into some hip activation and some core activation. So what I'll do is I'm gonna go ahead and lie down on my back. I'm gonna pull my knee to my chest. From there, I'm gonna flex my foot, and then I'm going to drive up into hip extension. I'm gonna hold position for 3 seconds, then back down. Up, hold position for 3 seconds, then back down, okay? You can do 2 sets or 3 reps. Again, we want range of motion, we want activation of the muscle, and then we also want to make sure that we're stable in those end ranges. So getting that active end range control and then stabilizing the joint in those end ranges are going to be appropriate for what we're trying to do from a dynamic standpoint. All right, so now we're going to move on to the feet and the ankle again, and we're going to start working through a dynamic movement. So this one is, again, real general, and then we'll go into more specific movements with Maureen herself. First one we're going to do is called an ankle rocker. So all I'm going to do is I'm basically going to rock back and forth. So I want to get into dorsiflexion, drive through the big toe into plantar flexion, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion. And again, you're just working both the anterior tibialis and the gastroc, so the calf muscle, shin muscles, and we're just pulling the toes up into the top of the shoe and then driving the toes into the ground, all right? Do 10 reps there, nice and controlled. Make sure you pause at each end range. From there, we're gonna start moving forward. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go heel toe, and you're also gonna have to maintain stability of the pelvis. So you gotta squeeze the adductors. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead, drive my toes to the top of the shoe again, flex the foot, and then drive up into plantar flexion, but maintaining my balance on the ball of my foot here. So full propulsion. As I go through, I'm maintaining hip stability. I'm locking down my core, my ribs are down, and my obliques are on. So again, flexion, drive up, hold, flexion, drive up, hold. And again, if I don't have activation of my adductors or my obliques, I'm gonna fall all over the place. So the down leg, you have to, one, stabilize the hip, contract the muscles that are gonna allow you to be stable, and then make sure that you're getting full propulsion. So you're driving the big toe and the ball of the foot into the ground, getting your heel off the ground as high as possible. You can do this for about 10 yards. Again, being very stable in your approach, making sure that you're slowing the pace down. Don't rush these, get full range of motion, and then hold it at the top for maybe 1 to 2 seconds at the most. We're gonna go heels only, driving the toes to the top of the shoe. And I'm driving and stepping. Maintaining my position, not flaring the feet out, keeping them inside. And then again, I'm going 10 yards down. All right, going back, we're gonna go balls of the feet. So now we're in propulsion. We're gonna go plantar flexion. You're gonna drive, big toes into the ground, squeeze the big toe into the ground. It's gonna turn on your glutes, it's gonna hit your soleus and your gastroc, all right? So now again, we're warming up and strengthening up the lower limbs, which is very important when you're trying to move in your stance, all right? We're gonna go ahead and go a little bit more dynamic. So we're gonna go heel toe, but I'm gonna drive off the ground this time. So it's gonna be here, I'll go heel toe, I drive off the ground. So I get a short burst at the top. Here, we're up, drive, up, drive. Up, drive, up, drive, up, drive, up, drive, up, drive. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and do some low-level plyometrics, all right? So this is gonna help you redirect force fast. It's gonna get more elasticity or elastic qualities inside the lower legs, especially the feet and the ankle. So what we're gonna do is pogo jumps at a low amplitude, and then from there, we're gonna drive up into a higher amplitude. So we're gonna take about 5 seconds going low amplitude, just like you're jumping rope. Then from there, we're gonna raise up that amplitude, get a little higher off the ground, like we're doing double unders. So here it goes. Hands on the hips, low amplitude. We got 5 seconds, then jump up. So you go 5 seconds on, and then 5 seconds higher amplitude. You do 3 sets of those. Another one we're gonna do is we're gonna rotate with the hips. So now we're gonna go ahead and put together the feet with the hips. So I'm gonna keep my feet here, I'm gonna lock everything out. Then from there, I'm gonna rotate my hips using some of my arms too for some rotation. All right, so here we go. From here, quick, 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 quick. Now again, 10 seconds, and then go on to the next one. All right, so the next one we're gonna do is a basic track running drill or a sprinting drill. It's called an A-skip. Now the A-skip, we want to be able to increase the elasticity of the lower limbs again, like I said, with that stretch reflex, and then also throw in the hips there with the hip flexors, just again to get your body ready for more specific movement patterns when we go ahead and work with Maureen. So here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and get a small hop. Then from there, I'm gonna drive my knee up and reach out. So here, boom. With the A-skip, the goal is to maintain that plantar or the dorsiflexion. You're driving down that leg, and then as soon as you come up, you're hitting a double bounce and driving the knee up, the opposite knee up to the chest. You're maintaining rotation too as well. So reciprocation, rotating through the transverse plane is gonna be very important. Making sure, again, you're firing up the hip flexors and you're also activating the glutes and the limbs down low for lower leg strength. So now what we're gonna do is go through more of a lateral movement. So what you're basically gonna do is set up almost like an athletic stance or like a linebacker stance. And from here, I'm gonna be on the balls of my feet. So I'm not gonna be rock back on my heels. I'm gonna put pressure on the outside of the balls of my feet. Then from there, I'm just gonna shuffle step. I'm gonna stick it and then replant and go again. So I'll push, 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 push all the way through and then go back the same way. We push, 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 right? And again, the push off, as important as that is, the landing is just as important, if not more important, because we wanna be able to maintain our balance, not cave in our knees, making sure that, again, your hips are in line, your knees are in line with the toes, and you're centering yourself, okay? When you go into specific movements, you'll see with Maureen is that when you go to move forward, you have to move the front leg first. If you're moving backwards, you have to move the back leg first, all right? So similar concept here with that basic lateral movement. So we're moving from general to specific. These are primarily going to be for kickboxers and Muay Thai, a little bit of MMA, and boxing can use it as well because you're going in internal rotation. So you're using the hip to turn and rotate as you go to throw your strike, because in boxing, your hip is always gonna lead the strike. Your hip leads, the arm follows, right? So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna activate from a general perspective, we're gonna activate that internal rotation. So we're gonna go through IR, and then we're gonna whip back that leg back into a neutral position. Here we go. We're here. I'm gonna turn one side. This leg's gonna shoot forward, or to the side, I should say, immediately, and then from there, I'm gonna go ahead and whip my leg back. So I'm here, boom. Turn, boom. Turn, boom, okay? Again, we're just opening up the hips, allowing for that free range to occur, and we're activating those muscles across that joint to move freely. All right, here we go. We turn, whip it. Turn, whip. Turn, whip. Again, internal rotation, back into external rotation, and then stabilize the body. Next one we're gonna do, external rotation. We're gonna sit the leg back behind us now. So as I go to open my leg, same concept, but I'm gonna open the leg here, and as I open, I'm gonna drive back, okay? So it's an opening of the leg, so external rotation, drive, and then push back. Again, open, drive, then push back. Open, drive, push back. Open. So external rotation, similar to a karaoke, we call it a half karaoke. And again, like I said, external rotation is the key here. Last one was internal, this one's external. All right, now we'll put it together. So first one we got the lateral push, internal rotation. So lateral push, internal rotation. Lateral push, internal rotation. Lateral push, external rotation. Lateral push, boom. Boom. Now we put it together. We'll go lateral push, internal, external. Lateral push, internal, external. Again. Lateral push, internal, external. And again, the goal is to be explosive, be able to relax, contract, and relax again. That's gonna give you the ability to be fast, to be elusive, to have quickness in your movements, especially on the floor, whether it be on the mats, whether it be in the cage or the ring. So now, after you've done that, we're gonna go ahead and go with specifics using the ladder with Maureen Shea. Let's get after it.
Hey guys, I'm Maureen Shea, two-time world champion boxer, and I'm here today to show you guys a little bit of some footwork drills, just basic footwork drills. I like to use the ladder just so you know your placement. So remember, back in my first video that I showed you with shadow boxing, you always want to have your weight evenly distributed. Okay, we're not leaning too far forward, leaning too far backwards. We're right here. We also want to have that kickstand. So that back foot is always going to be out a little bit. All right, what we're going to do now is going forward, we start with the first foot in the first box. We're going to push off that back foot forward and replace. Push, replace. Push, replace. Push, replace. Check with yourself each time you push, replace. Make sure you're not leaning forward, you're not leaning back. You've got your weight evenly distributed. You've got soft knees and you're back here ready to go with that back foot. We can also do this going backwards. Front foot out. Now we're going to push off that front foot and get through the back. Push, replace, push, replace, push, replace. If you guys find that you're having a little bit of a hard time, maybe you're taller, you can do double box, or you can keep that back leg, that kickstand, outside. Making sure each time that you finish, you're in a very solid stance. And that weight, I can't emphasize this enough, how important it is to have that weight evenly distributed. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna step side to side. Step in, step to the side. Step in, step to the side. Step up, step to the side. Step up, up, to the side, to the side. Up, to the side, to the side. Up, to the side, to the side. Always stepping with, when you're going to your right foot first. When you're going to your left foot first. Pushing off the balls of your feet, whether you're going forward or to the side, you're pushing off the balls of your feet. So here, I'm going forward. Now I'm gonna go to the side. Now I'm gonna go to this side. When I'm going to my left, I'm pushing with the ball of my back foot. When I'm going forward, ball of my back foot. When I'm going to my right, ball of my front foot. Second thing I'll show you guys, or third thing I'll show you guys, is how to angle, okay? So we got forward, we've got side to side. Now we're gonna go forward, pivot, forward, pivot, forward, pivot, forward, pivot all the way around, pivot back. This is the pivot. Add that pivot wherever you want to add it. If you just want to add it to one side, or if you want to pivot all the way around. Get comfortable being on the balls of your feet. In a fight, you might not go all the way around, but it's important to know where to spin and stop, okay? Spin and stop, spin and stop. And that's what it's gonna look like without the ladder.
All right, guys, so there you have it. You got the basic warm-up, the basic activation of the lower limbs, working in from a general perspective all the way up into a specific protocol that you could use. Take this with you. Make sure that you're practicing this almost every other day, especially if you're a fighter that is looking to enhance their abilities to move in the ring, in the cage, on the mat, whatever the case may be. All right, if you want to find out more information on this, you can go ahead and check out my mentorship program. Link is in the description. If you want to train more like this and have a program set based around these movements, go ahead and check out Heavy Hitter. It's my 8-week boxing strength and conditioning program that you can get now. Link is in the description. And also make sure you subscribe, hit the notification, hit the like button. I'll see you again next time. Peace.